What happens when people cannot or will not see what is happening right in front of them? In today's gospel, a man who has never seen in his life suddenly sees. Imagine that. Light where there was only darkness, faces, colour, space, movement. It is physical, concrete, undeniable. And yet the real drama begins after the healing. Because the tragedy in this story is not that one man was blind. It is that others with perfect eyesight cannot recognize what has just happened in front of them. They see the man. They see that he now sees, but they refuse to see what it means. That is the deeper blindness. The Portuguese writer José Saramago, Nobel Prize winner in 1998, once imagined a whole society losing its sight in his novel Blindness. But what made the novel disturbing was not the loss of vision, it was what followed. When people could not see clearly, fear took over, compassion weakened, self-protection ruled. The real collapse was moral. John's Gospel is asking something similar. What happens to us as a community when we refuse to see what is plain before our eyes? In the first reading, Samuel goes to anoint a king. He sees strength, height, presence, and assumes he knows who God has chosen. But he is wrong. God reminds him that human beings look at appearances. God looks at the heart. Even a prophet can misread what is in front of him. And in the letter to the Ephesians, Paul speaks of moving from darkness into light, not as an idea, but as a way of living. Light changes how you see and how you act. Back in the Gospel, the religious authorities are certain about their system, certain about how God works. Their certainty prevents them from recognizing grace standing in front of them. The man who was blind is the only one who grows. His sight begins with his eyes, but it continues in his understanding. He does not claim more than he knows. He simply refuses to deny what has happened. And that question presses into our own time. We live in an age where we see more than any generation before us. Screens in our hands, images all day, news instantly. We are flooded with sight. And yet sometimes we fail to see what is happening right in front of us. For years now, there's been mounting evidence about the damage caused to children by early and unregulated exposure to social media. The evidence points to rising anxiety, loneliness, distorted self-image, addiction to validation. The research is not hidden, it is reported, discussed, repeated, and yet as a society we hesitate, we minimize, we say it will be fine. We see, but we choose not to face what we are seeing. That is the kind of blindness the gospel is probing. Not ignorance, not lack of intelligence, but resistance. In my pastoral work, including a few times this last week, I often hear sentiments like, I won't baptize my child because I don't practice, or we won't seek a church funeral, it would be false. There is a certain integrity in such assertions, a refusal to pretend. The problem is not that kind of honesty, But sometimes beneath it lies another question. Are we refusing light because we think we must understand everything first? Are we standing at a distance because we feel unworthy of stepping closer? The man in the gospel does not wait until he has a complete theology. He responds to what has happened. His sight deepens because he is willing to stay with the light he has received. The religious leaders, by contrast, close down. They already know, and so they stop seeing. That is the warning in this story. You can have perfect eyesight and still miss what is staring you in the face. There are times when our determination to remain consistent leaves us blind to grace. It is possible to protect our frameworks and miss God at work. So perhaps the question for us is simple and uncomfortable. What is happening in front of me that I am not allowing myself to see? Where is light breaking in that unsettles my assumptions? The man born blind receives his sight in an instant. But the deeper sight, the courageous recognition of what God is doing, unfolds because he does not turn away. Moving from darkness into light does not mean having all the answers. It means that when light breaks in, we do not turn away. That is where real sight begins. Amen.